This video is about hiking the Enchantments. The Enchantments, one of the most beautiful areas in the state of Washington. It's an unbelievable hike, guys. Is it not?
It's amazing.
You know, it's not a frivolous hike. It's not wake up one morning and out you go. It's something you have to actually think about. This video is going to be about all the tips that you need to make this hike to be fantastic for you. The first tip, you gotta believe you can do it. Now, Johnny, we actually were trained. We did some hikes maybe once a week or a couple a month to kind of get ready. You're walking on the streets. You had like the vest on and everything, but this kind of freaked you out a little bit.
Well, yeah, I will admit our longest hike that we did was, I don't know, 5 miles, 7 miles, somewhere in there, 8 miles.
That was only when Dan misnavigated us.
That's
It was supposed to be 5, but then it ended up being 7 or 8.
It was a bonus.
Yeah.
Bonus 2 miles.
But then, Tim, you said, hey, we're doing the Enchantments. I go to the internet, which maybe isn't the best thing to do, and notice
Unless you're watching this video.
this is one of the more strenuous through hikes in the United States. I kind of freaked myself out. I didn't think I could do it. Or I thought I could do it, but I'd come back maybe not walking.
Yeah. But, you know, you get some buddies who are going to do it with you. You can absolutely do this. Go out, do some hikes beforehand, and then let's talk about a couple things you want to have. One is good boots. Dan, what kind of boots were you rolling in?
I ran the Merrells. That's my favorite boot, and so I broke it in. I love Merrells. But we had two people wearing Solomons, and they performed super well.
And one of those two people didn't even break them in. It was the first time used. What shoe? Grab your shoe.
Well, Tim, I had been hiking in running shoes, and you said, hey, we're doing the Enchantments. So a day before, I went out and got some proper hiking shoes here. These Solomons are the Speed Cross 6s. Super light, super durable, good traction, good grip, better than running shoes.
Yeah.
First time out of the box, through hike on the Enchantments.
through like 22 miles,
Yeah.
First time out of the box. So we recommend you actually do several hikes in the boots that you're gonna wear. I used a Arc'teryx pair, you know, whatever works best for you. You do want something that has pretty good grip, you know, as you go through this.
We all have a pair of hiking boots we love. If you are at all worried about a blister, I would switch over and I would do more of this kind of lighter weight day hike shoe that performs super well.
And just in case you do get a blister, make sure you bring plenty of moleskin or second skin to put on top of that. Now, one of the things that John and I had the benefit of is we actually went with Dan, he's hiked quite a bit. And one of our big recommendations is review the route before you go. And so, Dan, you looked at this route. You knew where we were going. What app did you use to track us as we went through it, and kind of how did you think about the route?
Yeah, so I think a lot of hikers will use All Trails, which is a great app. You know, not only can you find cool hikes that have exactly the things that you want, but it tracks you through from start to finish. You know where you are. You know when you got off track. Maybe add a couple miles. You can avoid that on a hike that's quite long.
And so one of the tips that we had was for you is 2 cars if you can do it. The nice thing about 2 cars is you can go drop one car off in the morning where you take off, have another car where you end up. Now, alternatively, you can have a bus from the resort that you stay at drive you up there, but you're gonna start a little bit later. So we're on the trail at 4:30 in the morning, whereas that bus might put you there at like 6:30, or something like that.
It's an important 2 hours.
It really is, because when you look at this, it is 22 miles. And so for us, our approach was take it slow and easy. We're gonna enjoy it, but we're moving the whole time. It's 22 miles, and this is 22 miles. This is not your grandmother's hike. This is like technical. You're looking at each step as you go that you have very few miles off. And so we did it in 14 hours, but we also, took time, and we'll talk about some of those tips. Now, Dan, one of the most important things is like the route, and to check out that route the day before. Now, when we were out there, not only had you checked that route before, but you could check it on the app as we're walking around.
100%. The All Trails app is really great. As you said, do the investigation of the route ahead of time, but then it's tracking you throughout, checking your progress, you know how much is left. One little trick on Enchantments with the All Trails, it'll show 18 miles. Don't be fooled.
Sucker. don't be fooled,
It's 22 miles.
There's
so
4 extra.
Plan accordingly. But it is super helpful. And we also took the step of going to both trailheads ahead of time, checking it out. And we also stopped at the National Park Station in Leavenworth, talked to the ranger, And you get to know, is there anything unusual going on? So when you start your day at 4:30 in the morning, you know it's going to go according to plan.
Because we got a cup of coffee or whatever, but it's 4:30 in the morning, and it was amazing. You guys had gone to the drop-off point. You checked that out. Johnny and I showed up a little bit later, so we didn't do that. And speaking of the ranger, on a through hike, you don't need a permit. You will check in so that the ranger knows you went up there, but you don't need a permit. If you're going to camp, you do have to put in for the lottery and go ahead and have that permit. Now, one of the things that for us, this was a debate, right? Because we had one hardcore mountain climber guy who's a friend of ours who's like, poles are for weenies. Well, I got to tell you, I couldn't have been more happy that this weenie had poles.
All four of the weenies.
All four. And for us, we literally went out and we got these poles. All of us had different brands. It doesn't really matter. I think this one here is Black Diamond, and the nice thing about this and a lot of these different poles will do that. Nobody's paying us for any of these products. These are just the ones that we chose. But it collapses really nicely. So if you don't need it, you can just put it on your pack. You won't even feel it there.
I don't know how many steps we took on the Enchantments, but it was a lot. And a lot of it's pretty rugged. Uphill, and then the downhill is very grueling. So the poles were a game changer.
Yeah. I found as we were going up Asgard Pass, which is legit. I mean, what's our vert on that? That's like we're
1,500 feet in
a very short period of time. And so I use this a little bit to stabilize me. On the way down with poles, it was just nice because there's a lot of drop-offs that are, knee height. So it's like a foot and a half. To be able to put a pole down and take some of that pressure off of your legs while you're on this hike, it was, super useful to be able to do that.
There's a big section of the downhill that's bouldering, basically, and so it's hard on the knees, and that's a huge help.
Now, coming back to the app, one thing that I forgot to bring up was that this route will have cairns, right? And those cairns are stacks of rocks, and you can see them. But sometimes you lose track, and that's another time when it's nice to track yourself on the app.
Yep.
And make sure you have enough battery power.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Have some backup, one backup battery for your phone. You just don't want to lose power when you're on. It's good. The cairns are really good. You generally know you're on the right track. It's just nice peace of mind to look at the app and know you're on the trail.
Yeah, without a doubt. Now, we chose to stay at the Sleeping Lady Resort in Leavenworth, and it is within 15 minutes of the trailheads. We made a reservation there. It wasn't too bad. We chose to go in mid-August. I'll tell you why here in a second. But that Sleeping Lady Resort made the ride up really quick to the trailhead. And afterwards, hot tub. We ordered pizza. We had beers there. It was a great...
Not the worst thing.
Yeah. Oh, it was a great experience. Okay, so staying at the Sleeping Lady, scout in the morning, get up at 4:30. We had headlamps. Make sure you have good headlamps, for that start. And just, God forbid, you get caught up on the trail. You need them at the end. But the other thing that we had was a pack. And so I'm going to show you what the pack is, at least the one that I ended up getting. Everybody can do their own. I like to think of this pack as the pack for the average Joe. I say average Joe because we saw these people who were elite hikers who just had like a water bottle and like 2 bars, and they're going to be running this thing. Well, not me. I'm the average Joe. I like this one because it had very breathable back. Inside of here, it has a bladder for water, about 1.5 liters. This is a 30 liter in terms of volume. And for me, that was about right. The things that we packed in here, I think that we overpacked the bars a little bit, put 10 bars in here, had a bunch of goos, and thank God, one of the things I was so happy about is having a sandwich. After you have 5 bars, it's nice to have a sandwich to break it up. Also, I'm a little bit of a prima donna. You guys might not know this.
Wait, what?
Believe it or not, when we got up Asgard and I had sweated profusely, I put on a new shirt, and that was really nice. Now, also, why go up there if you're not going to swim?
Oh.
And if you're going to swim, it is so nice because your legs are burning after you go up Asgard. You hop in that icy cold water. It's like being in an ice bath. It's fantastic. Now, you could go naked if you wanted to, but there were people around. So I wore underwear. I'm not a guy who likes to get swampy down there. So I brought, you're welcome. I actually brought a couple pairs extra of underwear, but that's just me. You do you. I also bought 2 extra pairs of socks. I ended up staying with the same socks the whole time, and all that easily fit into a 30-liter pack. So I think you're somewhere between a 25 and a 30-liter day pack is most likely where you want to be.
Yeah.
Do you guys have anything else to say about that?
Now, there's some good packing lists that you can find online that have most of the things. You just want to make sure you've got you can layer up to whatever, depending on the time of year you're going. You want to be able to layer up to whatever you're going to need at that time. 30 liters is a good size to make sure you have that. You've got fuel, you've got first aid, and some extra clothes.
Yeah, and this is the state of Washington, and so we get snow and it can rain a bunch. So we chose to go in mid-August. And so we went up and we hit it perfectly. It was like the ideal temperature to hike in, kind of in the 70s, and we're up and going through it. So, if you want to hike in the snow, you can set that time, go a little bit earlier. I recommend August, but you do what you want to do. Now, one of the things about that pack and what we thought a lot about was water. And one of the things that we learned was that we probably brought too much water because all those lakes you can get water out of. Now you do have to purify them. And so we had 2 different bottles. We had the one that Dan had. Old school. Old school. Dan's out there like freezing, like pumping this thing. But Johnny, your water bottle was fantastic.
Yeah, I was happy with this. This is a Catadine, beef-free, and it works great. So it's you just scoop up the water, turn in the thing, and out you go.
Yeah.
So I would add with the water. We probably going up Asgard, we had too much. There's so much water available on the trail.
Yeah.
A good way to do it though is to have 2 bottles. Like I even like the light, like Smart Water 1 liter bottles, because then you can have them on your pack, right? So you get your fresh water, you can put it in that spare bottle, put it in the iodine tab, and then have another one that's ready to go.
Yeah.
So,
and it was nice having a smaller bottle, so if we wanted to put some extra hydration, mixture into that, we could have that, so I wouldn't have to mix it into my backpack, liter. So it's nice having that extra one. So that was fantastic. The other thing when we're up there, we saw some goats.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
There's goats.
Big ones.
These goats are not to be trifled with. Goats are legit. So if you see them, take your picture, enjoy the moment. Don't get too close. Don't think you want to mess with these things.
No, they're big.
The other thing too for swimming is this REI makes a microfiber towel. It's totally light. It's this small. And you'd be amazed how this little microfiber towel
Amazing.
can get you fully dry. And then when we were done with it, we hung it off the back of our pack, and by the next lake we were at to go swimming, it was dry again. So it was fantastic. Really recommend having that one come in. I'd say the last thing is to know your group. For us, we had hiked together several times, kind of knew how each other was going to go. Dan, you did a good job. You're like, guys, slow and easy. And so when we were going up Asgard, it was slow and easy. Dan actually did a really nice job thinking slow and easy right up until the end. And then we like to call him Frankendale because he's a lot taller than us. And he was like, we were getting out of here. He picks up the pace. And Johnny's looking at me going down the trail. I'm doing like this little run to catch up to him. At least we all knew the general fitness level, and we kind of helped each other through it, and we'd stop and bring everybody together. This, and behind us, we've been showing images of our hike. I hope you really enjoy those images. This is one of the most beautiful places in the world. You have to do this hike. Yeah. We highly, highly recommend it. I hope these tips have been helpful for you. If you have any questions, just please, or if you have other tips that you want to add, just leave a message, down in the comments, and we'll do our best to answer. If not, one of our other viewers will answer it for you. And so get out there, enjoy the outdoors, do the enchantments. Please shoot us a note, let us know what you thought about. We'd love to hear about your trip. If you like this video, please subscribe to it. We'd really appreciate it. Like it. And thank you so much. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
It was
All
awesome.
right. You.